The psalmist put it succinctly.
Praise is awaiting you, O God, in Zion, and to you the vow shall be performed. O you who hear prayer, to you all flesh will come. Psalm 65, 1 and 2.
We now return to our anchor text from Ezekiel.
Then the man brought me back to the east gateway in the outer wall, but it was closed. And Yahweh said to me, This gate must remain closed. It will never again be opened. No man will ever pass through it. For Yahweh, the God of Israel, entered here. Thus it must always remain shut. Only the prince himself may sit inside this gateway to feast in Yahweh's presence. But he may come and go only through the gateway's foyer. Ezekiel 44, 1 through 3, NLT.
What? Who? What prince? Saladin? No, there was no temple there when he blocked the Golden Gate. But it's not Yahshua either. Get ready for another epiphany. Remember all those hundreds of passages predicting that David will always be represented on the throne of Israel? I generally respond like Pavlov's dog with these, automatically reacting, yes, that's a messianic prophecy. It's talking about Yahshua. Well, in many cases that's precisely accurate, but there are other passages that more clearly point to an actual role for David and his physical descendants in the millennial kingdom. That's descendants, plural, as in somebody other than Yahshua. As we plow through our late Ezekiel chapters, it will become more and more obvious that the civil government of Israel will be placed under the care of mortal descendants of King David, and probably even David himself, now an immortal being resurrected with the rest of the saints at the rapture. Some of the following passages have been explored in their larger contexts elsewhere in this volume, but we need to take a fresh look at them in light of this new development.
David my servant shall be king over them, and they shall all have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments, and observe my statutes, and do them. Then they shall dwell in the land that I have given to Jacob my servant, where your fathers dwelt, and they shall dwell there, they, their children, and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. Ezekiel 37, 24 and 25.
At first glance, this sounds messianic, but on closer examination, David, my servant, seems to be counted among the sheep. They all have one shepherd, as in,
Yahweh is my shepherd, I shall not want. Psalm 23, 1.
The same distinction between David and Yahshua is hinted at here.
They shall serve Yahweh their God, and David their king, whom I will raise up for them. Jeremiah 30, verse 9.
Since Yahshua is Yahweh, it seems that David here is the resurrected king, not a metaphor for Christ. The same idea is seen in Hosea.
Afterward the children of Israel shall return, and seek Yahweh their God, and David their king. They shall fear Yahweh and his goodness in the latter days. Hosea 3, verse 5.
That's all pretty thin, you say. Okay, how about this?
As the host of heaven cannot be numbered, nor the sand of the sea measured, so will I multiply the descendants of David my servant, and the Levites who minister to me. Jeremiah 33, verse 22.
Or perhaps,
he is the tower of salvation to his king, and shows mercy to his anointed, to David and his descendants forevermore. 2 Samuel 22, verse 51.
Just as Yahweh knows precisely who are Jews, and who among them are Levites, he knows who David's descendants are, and apparently there are a lot of them. Even though they won't know about their royal lineage during the tribulation, God does. Describing the Day of Atonement, 5 days before the end, Zechariah describes David's family's leading role in Israel's national repentance and the subsequent recognition of their returning Messiah.
I will pour on the house of David and on the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and supplication. Then they will look on me whom they pierced. Zechariah 12, verse 10.
A few verses later, we're given confirmation that the house of David are mortals. That is, this is not speaking of the Messiah.
In that day a fountain shall be opened for the house of David, and for the inhabitants of Jerusalem, for sin and for uncleanness. Zechariah 13, verse 1.
It's clear then that the literal, physical descendants of David will have an important part to play in Israel's future as the millennium begins. Jeremiah connects the restoration of David's rule, through the Messiah or otherwise, with Yahweh's preservation of the priests and Levites.
Behold, the days are coming, says Yahweh, that I will perform that good thing which I have promised to the house of Israel and to the house of Judah. In those days and at that time I will cause to grow up to David a branch of righteousness. He shall execute judgment and righteousness in the earth.
So far, this is speaking of the Messiah, Yahshua.
In those days Judah will be saved, and Jerusalem will dwell safely. And this is the name by which she will be called, Yahweh our righteousness. For thus says Yahweh, David shall never lack a man to sit on the throne of the house of Israel, nor shall the priests, the Levites, lack a man to offer burnt offerings before me, to kindle grain offerings, and to sacrifice continually.
Here he might be referring to Yahshua, but he could just as easily be talking about the mortal descendants of David, who will comprise the Israeli royal family during the millennium. After all, the priests and Levites about whom he's speaking are definitely mortals. Why not the royal family as well? Then, as if he hadn't made himself clear, Yahweh said it all again.
And the word of Yahweh came to Jeremiah, saying, Thus says Yahweh, if you can break my covenant with the day and my covenant with the night, so that there will not be day and night in their season, then my covenant may also be broken with David my servant, so that he shall not have a son to reign on his throne, and with the Levites, the priests, my ministers. As the host of heaven cannot be numbered, nor the sand of the sea measured, so will I multiply the descendants of David my servant and the Levites who minister to me. Jeremiah 33:14-22.
The subject of where the priests and Levites will come from pops up again in one of the ubiquitous passages predicting the return of Israel to the land.
It will be that I will gather all nations and tongues, and they shall come and see my glory. I will set a sign among them.
Yes, and the sign says, going out of business. He's referring to the battles of the tribulation, in which God's miraculous deliverance of the Jews will be the primary reason so many Gentiles see the light and refuse to follow the Antichrist.
And those among them who escape I will send to the nations, to Tarshish and Pul and Lud, who draw the bow, and Tubal and Javan, to the coastlands afar off, who have not heard my fame nor seen my glory, and they shall declare my glory among the Gentiles.
The survivors of World War III will evangelize the world, and those who survive to the end will honor the God who saved them by bringing Israel back to the land.
Then they shall bring all your brethren for an offering to Yahweh out of all nations, on horses and in chariots and in litters, on mules and on camels, to my holy mountain Jerusalem, says Yahweh, as the children of Israel bring an offering in a clean vessel into the house of Yahweh. And I will also take some of them for priests and Levites, says Yahweh. Isaiah 66:18-21.
In English, this sounds suspiciously like Yahweh will arbitrarily draft Jews from any old tribe to serve in Levitical roles, but I don't think that's the case. Ezekiel specified the literal family of Zadok as the only qualified priests, and Malachi, in a passage utilized by George Frederick Handel in his famous oratorio, The Messiah, says that the Levites must be purified like a precious metal before they can be of service to Yahweh as in the days of old.
He will sit as a refiner and a purifier of silver. He will purify the sons of Levi, and purge them as gold and silver, that they may offer to Yahweh an offering in righteousness. Then the offering of Judah and Jerusalem will be pleasant to Yahweh, as in the days of old, as in former years. Malachi 3:3 and 4.
Since literal Levites served in former years, we have no choice but to conclude that the same will be true during the millennium. I don't really want to complicate this, but one point must be clarified. The priests and Levites we've been referring to are mortal men, Jews who will serve in the millennial temple. Their role is symbolic, a living metaphor for the holiness of Yahweh, but there will be an entirely different order of priests in the world at this time as well.
Blessed and holy is he who has part in the first resurrection. Over such the second death has no power, but they shall be priests of God and of Christ, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. Revelation 20, verse 6.
Perhaps it would be appropriate at this point to define the word priest in biblical terms. The Greek used here is hiereus, derived from a word that means holy. It means one who offers sacrifices. Thus, the implication is that the priest stands as an intermediary between God and man. In the case of the Levitical priest, this is a job description, but for those in the verse at hand, it means something far more personal. Those who have had a part in the first resurrection, believers of every age who have died or been raptured prior to the beginning of the millennium, will, in their immortal resurrected bodies, have unprecedented access to the throne of Yahshua. It should therefore come as no surprise that we will function as priests of God and of Christ during the millennium, more mentors than intermediaries, I should think, helping mortals understand the mind of God. It's an awesome responsibility, but Yahshua will have equipped us for the task. This is what it means to reign with Him. We will be personally invested in the lives of the millennial millions, teaching, guiding, and admonishing them in the love of Yahshua our King.